Let's go to Drew DeArmond, 97.7, The Zone at Huntsville, Alabama. Talking Ball, 9 until noon daily. Drew DeArmond, hope you're having a great day. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Always great to be on in the City of Champions, Ryan, and we're still recovering from your appearance on War Eagle Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, and I got to thinking about that, man. I mean, War Eagle Wednesday. For those who may not know, Drew does a radio program 9 until noon. I just talked about every Wednesday. Tomorrow is Tide Tuesday. I don't know if I've ever been on Tide Tuesday.
Yes, you have. You've been on Christmas Tide Tuesday in the past.
Okay, but I'm normally on Friday. I'm like the end of your week, the last 30 minutes of your show on Friday. In case I say something crazy, then hopefully they'll forget about it by Monday. But last week I made the grand appearance on War Eagle Wednesday.
Yes, you certainly did. Live from inside a barn, Ryan Fowler.
Well, I actually
made the appearance on War Eagle Wednesday.
I actually lied about that. I wasn't in a barn. I told a little what do they call those little white lies? I had my fingers crossed. I don't know if that counts, but I just thought it would add more character to the interview. If I was doing War Eagle Wednesday, I couldn't think of anywhere better to do it than from a barn.
Yeah, well, there you go. And we had some outstanding feedback, and we finally gave in and let you make your appearance on War Eagle Wednesday, and we didn't even make you call in as someone else.
So how about this Wednesday? Am I on this Wednesday?
I don't think we're going to have Ryan Fowler on this Wednesday for the program, but, as I told Marquise, I'm sure we're going to get you back on in the Rocket City very soon, but I don't think it'll be for War Eagle. I don't know if they can handle 2 weeks in a row.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm all in. Whatever day you need me, I will be there. If we need to go back to Friday, then I'll go back to Friday. I mean, somebody's going to talk sports for a living, so I appreciate you having me on. So we have a overlapping audience, a lot of folks listening to your show and then listen to my show in the afternoon, so we greatly appreciate that. Let me ask you, Supreme Court. The Supreme Court now overruled a federal ruling about sports gambling, and I know it'll be a big topic. I think it broke during your show today, the Supreme Court jumping in. This is really going to change the sports climate within this state and throughout the Southeast. Do you have any thoughts? What do you think about this?
Well, I did a little sports betting in my younger days. I heard Red talking about it. There's been a lot more illegal gambling than legal, and I've always been in favor of a state education lottery. My whole point has always been, if you don't want to buy a lottery ticket, don't buy one. It's a free country. It's your choice. But if you want to buy a lottery ticket and take a chance on winning some money, why not? I mean, I've never thought that it was a sin. I was never against it. If you want to bet on sports, go ahead and do so. It should be, another form of, just enterprise. I've never been out of favor with it because, like I say, I've always been a guy in my younger days that did some parlay sheets and did some betting. I haven't done a lot in my adulthood, but again, I don't. I have a lot of friends that do bet every week, and they have a bookie, and I really don't mind it at all.
Well, you could lose, obviously, a ton of cash.
Yeah.
But it's also, it adds interest, and I think that's where we've been attacking it today, is what we do. I mean, you talk college football for a living. I talk college football for a living. We're going to have an increased interest in what we do. Or hopefully we do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because, again, that's going to now maybe it won't be as taboo to talk about who's favored. A lot of times people don't want to talk about that due to the gambling aspect, but now it'll be an even bigger topic of conversation, and maybe even each week kind of, which point spread is probably, it's the one that sticks out the most. It looks like that it could be, something that's been misjudged, such as I know there's going to be a lot of people jumping on Louisville because they're going to be like a 30-point underdog to Alabama. Or is there another one, maybe perhaps with Washington and Auburn, where you think Auburn could be a slight favorite, where you think Washington could upset them in Atlanta?
So let me go into a lot of different conversations here. When you look at this, I guess what we're having a hard time wrapping our brain around is the NCAA getting involved, because you know where they stand.
Yeah.
That's I guess they're going to have to, because they're not going to have the money to fight the billion-dollar industry that's out there. They're just not going to have the money to fight this.
No, they're not. And think about how much money is bet on the NCAA tournament each year, Ryan. I mean, there's probably more money wagered on the NCAA tournament, or just about as much as there is during college football season. I mean, it's a cash cow for the NCAA.
Sure. Well, now, okay, so let me go into when you look at obviously, I mean, there is so many different things you can go because of this. And I think the SEC, they've already got a statement here when we talk about it. And I know right now you're going to have all the bureaucrats out here like Greg Sankey. We're in the process of reviewing the Supreme Court's decision and its potential long-term impact on the SEC and collegiate sports in general. One of our first priorities is to ensure that we have a thorough and effective systems in place to educate our student athletes, coaches, and other personnel on all issues associated with sports wagering, end quote. Well, let's just stop there, because what they're basically saying is now we're going to have sports betting like we've never had it before. I mean, you could go within 3 or 4 blocks of this radio show and find a sports bookie in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, in just about any town in the United States. I mean, it's the dirty little secret that now they're going to act like, oh, it's some revelation now. Sure.
So let me ask you, when you look at the Crimson Tide, what's been the big catcher when we talk about the offseason leading in? I know it's recruiting and the aggressive approach that they're taking to this offseason. I'm impressed with Alabama amping up their Twitter game, man. This social networks, they have taken it to another level.
Well, they really have. I mean, I've been impressed with it as well. They seem to come up with stuff every day. The assistant coaches, I think there's been an absolute game plan put in place to do something every day and have it be recruiting-based. I still think the Bama cuts, and there's been, I think, 4 episodes now, and they're very strategic as well. I still think they're really helping Alabama. And what I love about it is there'll be a lot of copycat stuff coming out now, but Alabama, once again, was ahead of the pack with that. And I know some people have talked about it being, some of them being, the videos being too, almost like made for TV or made, recruiting. In other words, not off the cuff. It's for recruiting. But that's what that stuff is for. Man, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get these guys on campus. And the only way you do that is during the off season. And if they're willing to go to bat for their alma mater and sit down with Nick Saban and let the cameras roll, it's all for the better, because Alabama has right now 77 draft picks in the last decade. It's nowhere close to any other school. They've got the most first-round draft choices. The NFL draft is coming to Nashville most likely next year, Ryan. I still think Alabama will have 3 or 4 more first-rounders. I mean, the train is not going to stop, and I think, Chris Lowe was quoted as saying today that he felt like Nick Saban would coach at least 5 more years. I agree with that. I don't see him slowing down. I know people like Kirby Freeze, Smart, want to talk about him retiring soon, but that's only because they keep getting their ass beat, and they hope he does.
Man, tell us what you really think, Drew.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't tug on Superman's cape, and Kirby Smart got a nice kick in the groin for that last year.
Well, it's something Ozzie Newsome said on Thursday right here on this program on our Spiller Furniture Mattress Throwback Thursday segment. Ozzie said if you go to other places, you get a BS, a Bachelor's of Science, I guess you could say BA too, or master's degree. But in Tuscaloosa, they're handing out PhDs if you come through this program. Yeah,
absolutely. They are. They're handing out PhDs in football, and really they've done an outstanding job in all phases. When you think about it, Alabama, they lead the country almost every year in graduates. They get guys, they get their degrees, they're able to move on. Most of them, and the bust thing is comical in the NFL because most of these guys don't bust. They play several years in the league. I'll be honest with you. I heard you guys talking about the 3 best defensive backs of the Nick Saban era. for me, I would have to break it into corners and safeties. I don't know that I could choose just three. But in my opinion, one guy that's completely underrated as a defensive back, he was Nick Saban's first signee. He went on to start 3 years, including for the undefeated, 14-0 2009 team, and he's still playing at a high level in the NFL, and that's Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson was signed out of a prep school in Virginia. He was not really being heavily recruited at the time. It showed how good, of an evaluator Nick Saban is. I would have to say, as far as corners, I'd say my top three of the Nick Saban era would be Kareem Jackson, D. Milliner, and then probably a tie at three because I think they're the best duo on an Alabama team since George Teague and Antonio Langham, and that's Anthony Averett and my boy Levi Wallace.
I knew that was coming. I knew Levi Wallace was coming. I'm telling you, I already had it written down.
Absolutely. I'm going to plug my boy Levi. So I think those would be my top four corners. And then safeties, you got to go with Minka. He's the best one we've seen. So versatile, such a playmaker. I agree with Red. Eddie Jackson, what a stud. What a great punt returner he was, too. He was leading the nation in punt returns by a wide margin before he got hurt. We saw what he did with the Bears his rookie season as well. And then the other safety I would have to say is Clinton Dix. What a great player he was. What a great player he's been with the Packers. And then you'd have to give an honorable mention to Vinny Sunseri. Had his career cut short by a knee injury. But to me, that's the four safeties that I would talk about at Alabama. And I'm sure there's going to be some others step to the forefront. Watch Xavier McKinney to maybe have a breakout year this year for Alabama. But I really think that Kareem Jackson's been undervalued for his career at Alabama because it was long ago. I mean, think about it. It's over 10 years ago he was a true freshman, Ryan, but starting at Alabama in his first game. But I think Kareem put 3 really good years together. He was a first-round draft choice of the Houston Texans, and he just had a great pro career, been very, very consistent, and I think is on his 3rd contract, which in the NFL is a long, long time.
So, all right, so you got to play like it. Listen, if I'm going to drop your name in this Freddy's Steak Burger coupon giving away on a Monday, then you got to play just like the audience here, okay? I make them. You went through 4 safeties and 4 corners, and I know that would be fair in a perfect world, but we're doing a total of 16 players total on offense and 16 players on defense, okay? We're doing anyway, it's a roundabout way that we're getting there. But we're not breaking it down like outside linebackers. We're just breaking it down linebackers. Right. All right. So give me 4. Well, actually, we're doing 3, but okay. But we're doing 4. We're moving 4 on as we vote. So I'm going to make it hard on the audience. I'm going to make it hard on Drew. So give me the top 3, and don't put Levi in there. Come on, man. I mean, you know what we call that?
Just listen. Look at his numbers, man. Everybody just wants to focus on his 40 time when he was a walk-on.
No, I'm not focused. I'm not focused on that. I'm just focused on your bias toward Levi Wallace. I mean, I know you. Okay?
Well,
I mean, you may be the only guy in the state of Alabama that has a Levi Wallace jersey.
Yes, I do. I proudly have a Levi Wallace
jersey. A Levi Wallace jersey. Okay. You show me somebody else that's got a Levi Wallace jersey. I've never seen one.
I've seen his mother have one, so I joined that club.
Okay.
I mean, I do. I'm a proud Levi Wallace fan. But if you made me rate 3 defensive backs in the Nick Saban era, the 3 best that I've seen, I'll say this. I'll say Kareem Jackson, Minka, but I would have to say Minka and then Kareem and then Clinton Dix. That would be the 3 best that I've seen at Alabama.
Sure. Okay. So that's pretty solid 3, man. Pretty solid 3. But, we have found that some of these position groups go easier than what we anticipated.
Right.
I mean, like later this week we do wide receivers. It's going to be Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, and really
Calvin Ridley.
And it'll be Calvin Ridley. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I mean, it's going to be easy, I guess you could say. Like linebackers, we did it a couple of days ago with the Coach Bryant, from pre-Saban.
Yeah.
And our debate was this: Cornelius Bennett, Derek Thomas, Leroy Jordan.
Yeah.
How do you debate that?
That was my three,
Right. But then, I guess it's a fun discussion, but, then we get to quarterbacks. Are you going to go ahead and put Tua on that list?
I can't do that yet. Now, within a year, probably, but no, I don't think you can put Tua on there yet. To me, it's a runaway train. Right now, it's easily A.J. McCarron. If you're just talking about Nick Saban era quarterbacks, I would say A.J. McCarron, probably John Parker Wilson, and then Greg McElroy. But that would be my decision. Though I think it's hard because of how much he improved to leave Jake Coker off there too. But because he also because I think he played his best football in a lot of ways. I'd like to trapdoor Greg McElroy, who benefited from a great supporting cast, and that's the main reason he went 14-0, and put Jake Coker there because Jake Coker played really well down the stretch in the playoff and in the Iron Bowl in the last 5 or 6 games of the year. Now, Greg McElroy did have his best game of his career against Florida in the SEC Championship game. There's no question about that. But he also had some clunkers during the middle part of the season. But probably you really have to go with A.J. McCarron, John Parker Wilson, and Greg McElroy right now. But Greg McElroy will not be long for that list once Tua Tagovailoa ascends to the top within a year.
Drew D 977 ESPN. Drew D 977 ESPN. I thought we could make it through without talking about quarterbacks, but I guess we didn't do it. We didn't survive.
No. Well, we didn't survive, but I will say for the record, I did text you during the show last week and give you the backstory on Darwin Holt.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I asked Coach Stallings about it.
Yep.
I did on Wednesday. So, hey, Drew, thank you, man. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, man. I always enjoy being on in Tuscaloosa.